February 9th, 2004. A night that began just like any other in the quiet town of Haverhill, New Hampshire. But for one young woman, Maura Murray, this night would change everything. As the clock struck 7:27 p.m., a series of events would unfold that would leave her family and friends grasping for answers, and an entire nation captivated by her disappearance. Maura was a bright and ambitious 21-year-old student at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. She was known for her vibrant spirit, intelligence, and dedication to her studies in nursing. Friends and family described her as caring and loyal, always putting others first. But beyond the surface, Maura was grappling with personal struggles, a reality that would soon come to light. Just days before her disappearance, Maura faced a series of unfortunate events. A minor car accident had left her shaken, and her academic pressures were mounting. On February 7th, she had an emotional breakdown while working her campus job at the security office. Her supervisor reported that she was inconsolable, but Maura never divulged the specifics of her distress. What led to this sudden turmoil? 2 days later, on February 9th, Maura sent an email to her professors, informing them she would be taking a week off due to a family emergency. But there was no family emergency. Instead, she withdrew $280 from an ATM, packed her belongings, and left her dorm room behind. Where was she going? And why was she leaving everything? Maura loaded her black Saturn sedan with clothes, toiletries, and school books. The journey ahead would lead her to the White Mountains, an area she had no known ties to. Was this a spontaneous adventure, or was it a desperate escape? As she hit the road, she was headed into the unknown. Driving through the winding roads of New Hampshire, Maura's mind must have been racing. Was she seeking solace in nature, or was she running away from something, someone? The truth remained buried beneath layers of mystery, just like the snow that blanketed the ground. As evening fell, Maura's journey took a fateful turn. At approximately 7:27 p.m., she lost control of her vehicle and crashed into a snowbank on Route 112. The quiet night was shattered by the sound of metal on ice, and as her car came to a halt, so too did her life as she knew it. Local resident Butch Atwood, a bus driver, happened to be passing by when he saw Maura's car in distress. Concerned for her well-being, he stopped to offer assistance, but what he found was unsettling. Maura appeared shaken but composed. She declined his help, insisting she had already called 888. Butch left to call 911, and by the time authorities arrived, just minutes later, Maura had vanished. Her car was locked, her belongings inside, and the only footprints in the snow led away from the vehicle. Where had she gone? Was she running, or had someone taken her? The search for Maura began almost immediately. Law enforcement agencies, alongside volunteers, scoured the area for days. Search dogs were brought in, and helicopters hovered overhead, scanning the landscape for any sign of the young woman. But despite the extensive efforts, the search yielded no clues. Days turned into weeks, and the chilling reality set in. Maura had disappeared without a trace. The vastness of the New Hampshire wilderness held secrets, but it also held danger. Did she wander into the woods, or was there foul play involved? Each unanswered question seemed to deepen the mystery. As the investigation stalled, theories began to swirl. Some believed Maura had orchestrated her own disappearance, seeking a fresh start away from the pressures of her life. Others suspected foul play, pointing to the possibility of an opportunistic predator who may have been lurking in the shadows. The media frenzy surrounding Maura's case brought new attention, but it also complicated matters. Every new theory, every rumor, only added to her family's anguish. They were desperate for answers, but the truth remained elusive. Fred Murray, Maura's father, has become a tireless advocate in the search for his daughter. He refuses to let her case fade into obscurity. With every passing year, he has fought to keep the investigation alive, seeking support from private investigators and the media alike. Vigils have been held, community gatherings organized, and social media campaigns launched, all in the hope of keeping Maura's story alive. The love and dedication of her family and friends shine through the darkness, a beacon of hope in an otherwise grim situation. To this day, Maura Murray's disappearance remains one of the most perplexing cold cases in American history. Was she a victim of foul play, or did she choose to disappear? Did she succumb to the elements, Lost forever in the unforgiving wilderness? The questions linger like shadows, casting doubt on every theory proposed. Every year that passes only adds to the mystery. Maura's family continues to search for answers, clinging to hope that one day they will discover the truth behind her disappearance. But until then, her case serves as a chilling reminder of the uncertainty that can shroud even the most ordinary lives. If you have any information about Maura Murray's disappearance, or any leads that could help solve this case, please come forward. Her family, her friends, and the world deserve answers. Maura deserves justice. This is not the end of Maura's story. It's only the beginning of the search for the truth. Thank you for joining us on this journey, and for keeping her memory alive. As the search for Maura began, the community of Haverhill rallied together. Volunteers came from all over New England, united by the hope of finding Maura alive. Signs were posted, flyers distributed, and social media buzzed with information and speculation. The story of Maura Murray quickly gained traction, capturing the attention of news outlets and igniting public interest in her disappearance. Despite the overwhelming support and efforts, the days turned into weeks, and hope began to wane. Search teams scoured the rugged terrain of the White Mountains, which, in the height of winter, presented a formidable challenge. The icy temperatures and deep snow made the search even more difficult. Each day that passed without any sign of Maura weighed heavily on the hearts of those who loved her. Authorities used every resource at their disposal. They brought in search dogs trained to track scents, hoping to pick up Maura's trail. Helicopters flew overhead, searching for any sign of life in the vast, snow-covered wilderness. But as the search continued, it became painfully clear that Maura was still missing, and the questions about her fate began to multiply. What happened in those moments after the crash? Did Maura wander into the woods, disoriented and afraid? Or had someone else been involved? Investigators explored the area around the crash site, looking for any physical evidence that could shed light on her disappearance. Each day they combed through the surrounding woods, scrutinizing every inch of the landscape, but still, no clues emerged. The police investigation took a methodical approach, interviewing friends, family, and anyone who might have seen Maura that day. They analyzed her background, searching for any clues that could indicate why she had been heading to the White Mountains. Friends and classmates were perplexed. Maura had seemed to be a typical student with few outward signs of distress. But as they probed deeper, they began to uncover a more complicated picture. Maura had faced challenges in her life. She had a history of emotional struggles, compounded by the pressures of school and personal life. Her family later revealed that she had been involved in a car accident just weeks prior to her disappearance, an event that had left her shaken. Was this a contributing factor to her sudden decision to leave? Did she feel overwhelmed by her circumstances, leading her to make choices that put her in danger? As investigators continued their work, they uncovered more about Maura's recent behavior. It became apparent that she had been acting unusually in the days leading up to her disappearance. Friends recalled her being more withdrawn, and there were signs that she may have been under significant stress. The emotional turmoil she experienced only added to the mystery of her actions on that fateful night. In the absence of concrete evidence, speculation ran rampant. Some believed that Maura had deliberately staged her disappearance, seeking a new life away from the pressures that weighed her down. Others theorized that she had fallen victim to foul play, perhaps abducted by someone who had crossed her path that night. The more time passed with no answers, the more the theories proliferated. The media picked up the story, broadcasting Maura's image and detailing the events of her disappearance. News segments highlighted her family's anguish and the tireless efforts of search teams. The public became invested in her story, sharing it widely on social media platforms and bringing national attention to her case. Yet, with each passing day, the hope of finding Maura alive began to fade. Weeks turned into months, and with every season that changed, the search for Maura continued, but yielded no new leads. The winter snow melted, giving way to the vibrant colors of spring, and still, there was no sign of Maura. The search shifted from immediate rescue efforts to long-term investigations, as authorities continued to pursue every tip and lead that came their way. Amidst the uncertainty, Maura's family remained steadfast in their search for answers. Fred Murray, her father, became the face of the campaign to find his daughter. He utilized every resource available to him, reaching out to private investigators, engaging with the media, and organizing vigils to keep the public's attention on Maura's case. He refused to let her story fade from memory, determined to uncover the truth. As the investigation continued, the community of Haverhill rallied around the Murray family. They organized fundraisers, awareness events, and search parties, all in the hopes of keeping Maura's name alive. Each vigil brought together friends, family, and even strangers, united by a single purpose: to find Maura. But as the months stretched into years, the search became increasingly complex and fraught with emotional turmoil. The absence of answers weighed heavily on Maura's family, who clung to hope while grappling with the harsh reality of her disappearance. Fred often shared his thoughts in interviews, expressing his frustration with the lack of progress while emphasizing the need for people to remain vigilant and aware. The case attracted the attention of true crime enthusiasts and amateur sleuths, many of whom began to analyze every detail surrounding Maura's disappearance. Online forums erupted with discussions, theories, and speculations, as people sought to piece together the puzzle of what happened that night. Some theories gained traction, while others were dismissed as far-fetched. But the search for answers never ceased. As new technologies emerged, law enforcement began to re-examine the case with fresh eyes. They reviewed evidence, re-interviewed witnesses, and explored new leads that had surfaced over the years. Each time a new lead emerged, it reignited the hope of Maura's family and friends, only to face the harsh reality of yet another dead end. Despite the passage of time, Maura's story remained a topic of discussion. Podcasts, documentaries, and television specials dedicated to her case brought renewed attention. Each retelling of her story sparked interest and empathy, reminding viewers of the importance of keeping her memory alive. As the years passed, the questions surrounding Maura's disappearance only grew. What led her to the White Mountains? What happened in those fateful moments after the crash? And most importantly, where was Maura? Her family continued to search for answers, hoping that one day they would learn the truth behind the mystery of her disappearance. Now, as we delve deeper into the theories surrounding Maura's case, we will explore the possible scenarios that could explain her sudden vanishing act. We will look at the evidence that has emerged over the years, the ongoing investigations, and the impact that Maura's disappearance has had on her family, friends, and the community at large. As we explore the various theories surrounding Maura's disappearance, we must first consider the possibility that she had orchestrated her own vanishing act. Some friends and family members have suggested that Maura might have been overwhelmed by the pressures of her academic life and personal circumstances. They wondered whether she felt the need to escape, to start anew, free from the expectations and demands she faced daily. In the days leading up to her disappearance, Maura had exhibited signs of stress and anxiety. The emotional breakdown at work, coupled with her cryptic email to professors, led some to believe that she was seeking a way out. It was as if she had made a conscious decision to leave everything behind, to find solace away from the chaos of her life. If this was the case, where did she intend to go? And how could she have planned such a drastic departure without leaving a trail? Another theory speculates that Maura may have encountered foul play shortly after her crash. The fact that her car was found locked and her belongings left behind raises questions about what transpired in those crucial moments after the accident. Did someone stop to help her, only to have malicious intentions? The rural setting of the crash site means that it is entirely possible that an opportunistic predator could have been passing by, seizing the chance to abduct her. Investigators pursued this line of inquiry, interviewing registered sex offenders in the area and considering the possibility that Maura had become a victim of circumstance. As time passed without resolution, the fear of foul play loomed larger, casting a shadow over the search efforts. The chilling thought that Maura might not have simply wandered off, but rather fallen prey to someone with ill intentions, haunted her family and friends. As the years went on, new developments brought both hope and heartache. In 2016, a hiker discovered a backpack in the woods near the crash site. The backpack contained some personal items, including a few clothing articles and a book. Although it was not definitively proven to belong to Maura, the discovery reignited interest in the case and prompted another round of searches in the area. However, just as quickly as hope surged, it fell flat when authorities confirmed that the items did not belong to Maura. Over the years, various tips poured in, some credible and others bizarre. There were claims that Maura had been spotted in different states, living under a new identity. These leads were diligently followed up, but often led to dead ends. Each time a potential breakthrough emerged, the weight of disappointment grew heavier for those searching for answers. In 2019, a documentary about Maura's case was released, bringing renewed attention and drawing in new viewers who had never heard her story. The film examined not only the events surrounding her disappearance, but also the emotional toll it took on her family. For Fred Murray, reliving those moments was both painful and cathartic. He hoped that the film would encourage anyone with information to come forward. Despite the challenges, the Murray family remained resolute. They continued to advocate for Maura, working with organizations that focus on missing persons and raising awareness of her case. Fred often spoke at events, sharing his daughter's story and imploring the public to remain vigilant. He understood that the more people who knew about Maura, the greater the chance that someone might have the key to solving the mystery. The impact of Maura's disappearance extended beyond her family. It resonated throughout the community of Haverhill, where residents banded together in solidarity. The case became a rallying point for discussions about safety and awareness, highlighting the need to support one another in times of distress. Law enforcement began to emphasize community engagement, encouraging citizens to look out for one another, especially young women navigating unfamiliar areas. As technology advanced, the landscape of missing persons investigations changed. Cold cases like Maura's began to be re-examined with new forensic techniques and investigative methods. The advent of social media allowed for greater outreach and connection, enabling families to share their loved ones' stories far and wide. Each year, Maura's story was shared online, keeping her memory alive in the hearts of those who cared. Despite the passage of time, the hope for answers remained strong. Maura's case became part of a larger narrative about the challenges of finding missing persons in an ever-complex world. The conversations surrounding her disappearance sparked discussions about mental health, emotional well-being, and the importance of checking in on one another. As we reflect on Maura's story, we must remember the power of community and the resilience of the human spirit. The search for Maura Murray is not just about one young woman. It's about the love that binds family and friends, the compassion that drives communities to unite, and the determination to uncover the truth no matter how long it takes. In conclusion, while Maura Murray's fate remains a mystery, her story continues to resonate. It serves as a reminder of the fragility of life and the importance of connection. If you have any information about Maura's disappearance, no matter how small, please come forward. Her family deserves answers, and her memory deserves to be honored. Maura's story is not just a cold case. It is a living testament to the enduring hope of those who love her. As we continue to search for the truth, we keep Maura's memory alive, ensuring that she is never forgotten